Ship 36 experiences an anomaly at Massey's, new OLM parts seen at Sanchez, and we finally get an idea of how the water deluge system will generate the high-pressure gaseous nitrogen at the launch site. Hey everyone, and welcome to RGV Aerial Photography's Starbase Flyover update number 87. Due to availability of the plane and pilot, this week's flight took place on Wednesday, June 18th, at an altitude of 10,500 feet. Later in the day, we also managed to get some ground images. My name's Jeff A, and I'll be your guide today, so let's kick back and enjoy all the updates from Starbase, Texas. Let's start over at the ill-fated Massey's test facility. On Wednesday, June 18th, Ship 36 was being loaded with propellant in preparation for a 6-engine static fire, when at approximately 11 PM Central Time, Ship 36 experienced a rapid, unexpected disassembly. This anomaly was captured by Lab Padre on their Raptor Roost camera. Also, shout out to Toby Woby on X for providing us with his footage that shows us the scale of the explosion.
There we go. Oh no! That's not good. No! That's not good at all. Oh no! Guys, we watch out. Watch out objects.
Holy
This footage provided to us by Boca's Brain, also on X, shows us there is significant damage to the static fire stand, as well as the gantry which has fallen on its side. There is also some cosmetic damage to the water storage tanks from this angle. One of the walls in the office/workshop building was also blown out. Elon Musk posted on X after the incident that the initial data suggests that a composite overwrapped pressure vessel, or COPV, in the payload bay failed below its proof pressure. He indicated that if further investigation confirms that this is what happened, it is the first time that this has ever happened for this design. SpaceX later provided an update on their website that a safety zone was established around the site and was maintained throughout the operation. There were no reported injuries, and all personnel were safe and accounted for. Now, we were able to conduct a flyover on Monday the 23rd to get some images of the aftermath. The damage was widespread across the site. Parts of Ship 36 can be seen everywhere. Crew are placing ship parts for inspection near the undamaged new horizontal methane tank. Starting at the flame trench, you can see the SQD gantry has been completely flattened. The work platform for the static fire stand can be seen wedged underneath it. Some of the aft parts of the ship are lying below in the trench. It's unclear if the flame bucket received any damage. At this stage, the static fire stand looks like it is repairable. At the methane farm, the main electrical control bunker and its 2 transformers have been destroyed by fire. Behind it, all of the main propellant lines and control systems are like a spaghetti-style tangle. The ship's common dome and main downcomer landed in this area. The 4 methane vaporizers caught fire and were destroyed, while the 2 vertical tanks adjacent to them were severely scorched. The water deluge farm received only minor damage. The left main water tank plumbing was damaged and its contents ran down into the flame trench. The smaller tank nearby was moved slightly at one end on its pedestal. Interestingly, the main LOX line shows signs of fire along some of its length, especially around the cryo testing stations. At the edge of the site, the white tent was engulfed in fire as quite a lot of the blast went in that direction. At the nearby workshop, wall panels that were blown off can be seen here. The LOX and nitrogen storage tanks seem undamaged. Before the anomaly, on June 16th, Ship 36 conducted a 1-engine static fire to simulate an in-space burn. SpaceX posted this video on X shortly after. Now let's check on the changes for the site since the last episode, shall we? As always, here's a map from Proky to find your way around the site. Beginning at the structural test stand, we can see that the blue rods have been installed from the testing cap to the base of the cage. We can also see that the angled rams have been installed that connect from the cap to the second to top level of the cage, as well as 4 out of 6 lateral rams that attach from the top of the cap to the top level of the cage have been hooked up. Moving to the new booster cryo stand, new clamps can be seen sitting next to the stand. The old quick disconnect assembly from the cryo station is now sitting on the ground as they start to remove the old version 2 framework. Before we move to Sanchez, let's quickly check up on the developments at Rio West. Starting at the community building, work continues on getting the structure to its final height. At the top and bottom of the site, framing of the houses continue, with one on the bottom row still being untouched. In the centre, garage and first level foundation work is ongoing, as well as framing for the apartments. Now, how about we shift to Sanchez? The boosted quick disconnect frames have linkage arms attached. These will enable the centre frame to move back and forth to and from the booster. The quick disconnect plate will go on the Highway 4 side, and the cryogenic flex lines that feed propellants and other commodities to the booster will exit to the left. The angled down section will aid in supporting these flex lines and guide them down below the QD hoods. Nearby, 2 white objects have been delivered and look like possible doors for the BQDs. On the other side of the BQDs, the exhaust stack components are being placed here as they get removed from the electrical power plant. The main top ring of the new ship workstation for Mega Bay 2 is now under construction near Highway 4. The work jig that was in this spot has been moved nearby. New linkages have arrived near the hold-down arms for Pad 2's OLM. These are likely to be used on the doors that will cover the gap left after the hold-down arms retract, so that the biggest cutting torch ever created, the booster, doesn't bite into the OLM structure. In the area near Highway 4, a new Starship workstation for Mega Bay 2 is under construction. The part shown here is the movable platform to raise Raptor engines and crew up into the skirt section of the ships. We'll cover this more when we get over to the build site. At the Ship QD assembly area, some control panels have been installed on the Ship QD arm, which are more complete than the ones installed on the current arm at Pad 1. Now, let's take a look at this piece here. This is a Ship QD plate, likely to be used as a replacement for the current one that was just destroyed at Massey's. Moving to the gas power plant area, the structure has started to be dismantled as it hasn't been used for a long time. A perfect example of how things don't last long at Starbase. Finally, work has started on the second section of Remedios Avenue, after the first one was finished. It will likely take 4 to 6 weeks to have Remedios Avenue open again to transport vehicles to and from the production site. The concrete is now being torn up from the first rocket parking spot in preparation for the drainage work to continue through this area. This is where Ship 20 had been for so long. Just before moving to the build site, we would like to thank all of our YouTube and Patreon members. Remember, all of the patrons get to participate in our show and tell sessions on the same day of each flight. Here you can join in the discussions and ask your own questions. YouTube members also get to watch and listen in with a live chat function. Now, let's take a look at the build site, where construction of the Gigabay is chugging along steadily. 2 pile drivers are on site with augers and steel cages for the pile installation work stage nearby. Extensive earthworks are almost complete. This involves removing a layer of topsoil and backfilling it all with more structural soil. A layer of geotextile was then put down, and finally a layer of road base caps it all off. A washout pond has been constructed next to Highway 4 for all the outgoing concrete trucks expected to be arriving soon. We can see a ground angle of this Gigabay work captured by Starbase Surfer. There have been no notable changes over at Mega Bay 2, home to Ship 37 and Ship 38. In Mega Bay 1, the work platforms we saw staged outside last flyover have now been moved into the bay as SpaceX prepares to retrofit their workstations to version 3 specifications. Over here, we see the work platform that's probably meant to install header tanks in the booster aft section. Meanwhile, on June 19th, shortly after Ship 36's demise at Massey's, the hot stage ring was rolled out to the bay. Due to launch delays, the booster won't be needing it anytime soon. Now, taking back to the air, we'll take a look at the western extension of the Star Factory. If we look from the village side, there are a series of loading bays. This leads us to think that the structure is for a goods receivables area rather than a new tile bakery, as previously speculated. The row of air handling units above the first stage of the Star Factory have been removed, and a dust processing unit is still installed against the wall, which could mean that the new bakery may in fact be going in this area. At the multi-storey apartment site, a large excavation on the factory side has been dug to expose a series of piles. Progress can be seen at all the other parts of the site, including this central ramp section. This is similar to what we saw at the parking garage over on Remedios Avenue. Over the other side of the village, the Starbase City Commission approved a request by SpaceX to install gates near 4 intersections, restricting public access to a large part of this area. On LBJ Boulevard, work continues with earthworks now underway on the last section. That's all for the build site, so now let's fly over to the launch site. Starting at Pad 2, the launch mount progress continues. On the tower side of the mount, the final deluge manifold has been installed. The 2 corners remain to be filled. In this ground image, we can see those 2 segments. At least one of them will have an additional connection. Back to the air, a plate has been added to the lower structure for the methane BQD. Additional staircases have also been added inside. Returning to ground images, we see the beams across the trench have been removed with the launch mount secured to the legs. At the corners of the mount, heating pads are installed to preheat the steel prior to welding to prevent stress cracks in the welds. Shifting to Tower 2, cladding continues to be installed. Additional panels are staged nearby, including this piece with an opening, likely for access to the chopsticks. To the back of the tower, one of the elevator cabs has been replaced with the white cab seen in Sanchez in recent weeks. The dead end of the drawworks cable was also cleaned up, with a cover placed over the open hole. The cable was also neatly secured to the roof surface to hold it in place. This week, the concrete pad behind the tower now has lines painted, confirming that it is a simple parking lot after all. Well, for now at least. Further concrete work has been done adjacent to the Fire-X water tanks. The rebar that will support the blast wall is also progressing with the vertical bars being installed. Turning now to the water feed lines near the trench. All 8 of the newest pipes extend to where the final subgrade bends may be located. The elbows direct in several different directions, which remain unclear of their purpose. The other ends remain unfinished to the south of the 4 large pipes. In this area, excavation continues for the blast wall foundation toward the east. At the Deluge Tank Farm, progress continues with the pressurization system for the water tanks. New hardware has been installed in the 4 flanges of this nitrogen manifold for the 4 large tanks. These appear to be gas generators, not too dissimilar to the pre-burners on a Raptor engine. This stack will be filled with gaseous methane for the generators, with oxygen and possibly helium being stored in the 2 stacks of tanks to the west. Again, from the ground, we can see the 2 pipe racks used for this system. On the right, the larger pipes with the elbows facing down will supply the liquid nitrogen to the generators. Additional sets of matching pipework is placed at each of the valve skid locations to deliver the other gases needed to power the system. From above, we can also see the 2 additional manifolds have been connected to the 2 pipes that pass underground to the set of 5 tanks. Near the Pad 2 electrical and control bunkers, additional concrete work has been done. First, between the bunkers, a pad has been poured, now that the conduit installation is complete in this area. The larger pad next to the D2 gate is also poured. A grid of piers have been installed as well, likely for some kind of prefabricated building, as was done for the electrical bunkers. Steady progress continues at the Pad 2 pump farm. The pump system has seen little progress, though on the lock side of the farm, the supply and return pipes have been connected to the 4 hippos at the front of the site. Nearby, a further reinforced vaporizer has been installed on one of the 6 fan pedestals. The partially reinforced vaporizer is now gone, having been taken to Massey's for storage. The methane side has also seen further pipe installation along the middle rack. To the east end of the pump skids, the tank supply pipes for both ship and booster pumps can be seen, with only the last bends needing to be installed to the pipes below the lower skids. To the back area, further valve assemblies and pipes have been installed, which will direct the commodities to and from the pad during tanking operations. With the highway protection wall complete for several weeks now, new work can be seen in this area, as it appears they are working on improved drainage systems along the wall. The D2 gate seems to be a low spot along the highway, so this work should prevent some of the flooding seen during heavy rains. To the front of the smaller methane tanks, another vaporizer has been installed. The plumbing in this area is still incomplete, but these may be part of the expanded methane storage. The 2 methane tanks at the east end of the tank farm continue to progress. This sees the installation of the main drain and fill pipes that will soon connect to the pipes in the very top of the racks along the front of the farm. Looking at some of the updates from the second flyover, the trench slopes are progressing on steel cladding. 5 rows of plates are now installed, with 3 more remaining until the concrete at the end of the trench needs to be completed for the last plates to be installed. A green water pipe is also seen near one of the sumps, possibly to reclaim and recycle the water collected from the trench. Some chevron-shaped pieces are being installed to cap off the ends of the 3 newest deck manifolds. To the north of Tower 2, the propellant trench is now excavated from the tower to the fluids bunker. At the end of the blast wall, the square pad appears to be the location of an expansion loop, with the remaining trench being lined with a blinding layer. The blast wall also sees installation of the rebar cage and the first panels of formwork. In the deluge farm, vent pipes are being installed on the pressure relief valves for the water tanks. The first 4 gas generators are being integrated. They each have been connected to the control sled with methane, oxygen and nitrogen pipes. The main liquid nitrogen supplies between the sled and pipe rack are also connected. Moving to the east, the manifold in the centre has 1 generator stage nearby, with the last set of 3 generators already installed on their manifold. At the prop farm, methane supply connections are being finished. The last 2 pipes connected to the pump manifolds are installed. Additionally, the 2 elbows associated with detanking near the 4 hippos are now connected to the valve skids below the racks. Finishing this week's update at Pad 1, work continues on the refurbishments following Flight 9. With the loss of Ship 36, there will be an extended window for teams to further assess any further upgrades to reduce the wear and tear the mount has endured. From the ground, we can see the profile of this new plating. This update appears to connect to the door with a tongue and groove shape, unlike the previous plate that was simply welded to the top of the door. Well, that's it for episode 87 of Starbase Flyover Update. Thank you for choosing to fly with RGV aerial photography, and we hope you all enjoyed the flight. If you liked what you saw today, please subscribe for more episodes and content so you don't miss out on the new videos each week. I'm Jeff A, and we hope to see you again from 10,500 feet.